الله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كافها يا عين صاد ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا وإني خفت الموالي من ورائي وكانت امرأتي عاقرا فهب لي من لدنك وليا يرثني ويرث من آل يعقوب واجعله رب رضيا صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Before Ramadan, alhamdulillah, we had completed Surah Kahf, and tonight inshallah we're starting Surah Maryam. The name of this surah has been named after Maryam alayhi salam, which was the mother of Sayyidina Isa ala nabina alayhi salatu wassalam. And this surah clarifies many questions raised by the Christians about what was the status of Isa alayhi salam and Maryam alayhi salam and their relatives Zakaria and Yahya. And although living in Makkah, where this surah was revealed, it was not a direct relationship between Christians. There were no Christians in Makkah, and Muslims were not directly interacting with them. But there was two things. Number one, the pagans of Makkah, the mushrikeen, they used to interact with Christians from outside to challenge Muslims. So therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this surah gave many answers to those questions that they used to raise. Secondly, this surah was revealed in that time where, with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Muslims were beginning to migrate to Abyssinia, which was a Christian land. There was Christians there, Habsha. Muslims were going to migrate by sea to their land to find peace. So it was appropriate that Muslims knew about the beliefs of Christians and what is the reality about all these people and the reality of the status of these beloved and sacred people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what is their real status in reality. The connection between the previous surah, as mentioned by Hakim Ulumad Maulana Shaykh Sa'ad Thanvi rahmatullahi alayhi, is that Surah Kahf also mentions a few happenings which were very unique and extraordinary. This surah also mentions many happenings that were unique and extraordinary. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about those. Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ayn, Sad. Many surahs of the Quran start with these letters which are called huruf muqatta'at. Muqatta' means cut off, separated from each other, and that's how they are recited. Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ayn, Sad. These are a secret that only Allah knows. Zikru rahmati rabbika abdahu Zakariya. This is dhikr or narration of your Lord's mercy. Rahmati rabbik, your Lord's mercy upon abdahu Zakariya, his slave, his servant Zakariya. So whatever you find out about Zakariya alayhi salam, all of this we should know. Before knowing that, we should know that he was a slave to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and nothing more. إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ, as he called his Lord, nida'an khafiyya, he called out to his Lord in a quiet voice, in a low voice. So when somebody makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the best method is to do it quietly. It is a connection between a slave and his Lord. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after salah and at other certain occasions, used to recite dua loudly for the Sahaba to learn and memorize those du'as, to train the Sahaba. And for this reason it is permissible that when an Imam completes the salah or at any other occasion when it is intended for the teaching and for the learning of people, it is sometimes advisable and allowed that it is made in a loud voice. But in that, respect dictates that it should not be too loud, it should not be overly loud. Third thing that the ulama have written in this ayah is that all remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that the best zikr, the best remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that is made quietly. And the best rizq, khayr al-rizqi ma yakfi, that which is enough for a person. Khayr al-dhikri yakhfi, khafi, dhikrun khafi, wa khayr al-rizqi ma yakfi. And the best provision is that which is enough for that person's needs. So in reality, the root of the matter is that remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should also be, it's preferable to be made quietly. But because of certain needs of time and certain needs of people, it is proven from the hadith itself, the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam itself, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also engaged the Sahaba in loud zikr, in making zikr audibly or upon certain occasions. So therefore, depending on the certain conditions, individual conditions of a person, our mashayikh also, our ulama also advise some zikr which is made in a loud manner, in a certain way, which is totally permissible and proven from the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But overall, when you look at it, then the best zikr is that which is made quietly. Qala, he said, Rabbi inni wahana al-'azmu minni. Zakaria alayhi salam, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is quoting his dua, and in that teaching us how to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Qala, he said, Rabbi, O my Lord, inni wahana al-'azmu minni. I am in a state that the bones in my body have turned feeble. Washta'ala al-ra'su shayba, and my head has flared up with grey and old age. So he's basically expressing his weakness and the poor state that he's in. That, Ya Allah, my bones have become weak, I've become very old because of old age, and I've reached that age that my head has started turning white, my hair has started turning white with old age. Walam akum bi du'aika rabbi shaqiyya. But I have never remained, my Lord, a failure or unanswered in my dua to you. Ya Allah, my state is such, but the thing is that my experience with you has been that whenever I ask you, you have never turned me away. My dua has never remained unanswered. So this is the way of making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever you are asking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first it is recommended that we express our nothingness, our poverty, our failure, our being nobodies to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Allah, we are nobody, we have nothing to show you, and then present our need. And that is what he's saying, that Ya Allah, in my dua I have never been left unanswered. And we have learned it many times that dua of a believer is always guaranteed accepted. It is just that either they are given that thing that they are asking for or something better, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turns away some calamity that was coming because of that dua, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stores the reward in the hereafter, and in the hereafter when the believer will see that reward, they would wish that none of my dua was accepted in this world. So all the du'as of a believer are accepted. وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي. Then he says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Allah, I fear that my kinsmen after me, the people that are related to me, that I'm going to leave behind. وَكَانَتِ امْرَأَتِي عَاقِرَةً. So the fear that he was expressing from his people that he's going to leave behind, or his kinsmen, is that they are not going to uphold your teachings the way they are supposed to be upheld. They are not going to stick to the teachings of your deen. وَكَانَتِ امْرَأَتِي عَاقِرَةً. And my wife is عَاقِرَةً. عَاقِرَةً means a childless woman who can not have children, barren. فَهَبْلِي. All of that, Ya Allah, I have expressed to you. فَهَبْلِي. All of that makes it seemingly impossible, that which I am asking you, but Zakaria is asking فَهَبْلِي. So that is all impossible, all of that makes it impossible, but you are the one who can make possible what is impossible. فَهَبْلِي مِن لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا. From your own giving, from your side, without there being any means, from your special giving and from your side, give me waliya, give me some caretaker, which means that somebody who is going to, a descendant, an heir with me, for me. Yarithuni wa yarithu min ali Yaqub, he will inherit from me and inherit from the family of Yaqub, Had Yaqub alayhi salam. So here the viratha or the inheritance of Anbiya is only knowledge of deen. Knowledge of deen. The Prophet ﷺ has clearly told us that the Anbiya, their descendants, their inheritors are the ulama, the knowledgeable people. They do not inherit money or currency or dinar, they inherit the knowledge of deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, when Hazrat Zakaria is saying yarithuni wa yarithu min ali Yaqub, he will be my inheritor and the inheritor of the ali Yaqub, he would be inheriting the knowledge and practice of deen. And therefore, when a certain group talks about, na'uzu billah, the inheritance of the noble children of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and na'uzu billah tries to accuse some Sahaba that they did not let the Sahabiyat or Azwaj Mutahharat inherit properly, the reason is that the inheritance, physical wealth or land or garden or money, whatever a Nabi leaves behind, even if they leave behind, that does not become property of their inheritors. Their inheritance is only the knowledge. That money or whatever they leave behind, that is given to the Muslim state or Baitul Mal. So therefore, na'uzu billah, if people try to accuse Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh that he did not distribute the inheritance, the physical inheritance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to Sayyidah Fatima radiallahu anha or other daughters of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are utterly wrong. This hadith is quoted in their books as well, that the inheritance of Anbiya is only ilm, not money, not currency, and not land and other physical stuff. So waj'alhu rabbi radiyya, the last part of his dua is that, Ya Allah, you make that son, make that child, make that offspring that you give me, my Lord, make him a favorite one. So the last thing that we should mention is that it is perfectly permissible to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a good child. And we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, give us a child that makes you happy. It is not against tawakkul, it is not against wilaya, it is not even against nubuwwat, prophethood, that one asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Allah, give me a good child, an offspring, to ask for awlad, to ask for children. That is perfectly permissible and has been recommended in the Quran. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.